Welcome back to another episode of the Twistedtubz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Tuberty, aka Twistedtubz. He is again Paddy Murphy, aka Paddy Plays, and we are back for the third time to survive together. Paddy, thank you so much for coming back.
I don't know
episodes. That is awesome.
I don't know. I don't think you were paying attention there, but I was kind of dancing around and sticking my tongue out and licking the screen and stuff.
I was so focused on getting that entrance right that I fucking will have to go back and salivate on that dance later.
You can tell I've gotten overly familiar with this podcast when that's how I'm introducing myself. Yeah, it was kind of like that, and then I was doing the whole.
To be fair, there is an image of me licking the side of your head on a beach. So
that does exist.
That does exist.
How are you, How are you, Stephen? How are you getting on?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm delighted you came back on because, as I said, we talked about everything that is Paddy Murphy in your interview. We talked about gaming in a great detail. I found the last time we got really stuck in on that one, and yet still, I don't think we covered everything.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm not this interesting of a person.
See, this is the thing about us, right? We're 3 episodes in, and yes, you kind of are when we're kind of finding things that we can talk about in more detail. Like in the interview, we talked about the origin story of Paddy Murphy and the gaming and the films and everything else. And last episode we were on, we spoke about just your love for gaming in a much greater detail, and I think the love for gaming that I have as well, and the connection.
Exactly, it was a two-way street in that episode about how much we love gaming. Yeah.
So I think because we've done a lot together, we genuinely have. It's crazy.
You mean sleeping together, right?
No. Yes. But it is one of those things that when you look at it. It hasn't. When you look at it outside the box, it hasn't been like 3 or 4 decades long. But the crazy thing about me and Paddy's journey is, we hung out with similar friend groups and people and the whole thing, and we never met until we hit our 30s, middle 30s even, or no, early 30s. And this is the crazy thing about it. And now the fact that we've been able to create and be involved in so much, and not even just creation stuff. We've had connections with family stuff as well, and
kids parties and christenings and confirmations and communions, and we've become like family. We've really become like family, man.
Glenn's my new son. That I love Glenn. I love your ma.
Oh, she's in a Limerick accent that always sounds really bad. I love your ma.
I love your ma, huh?
Fuck, okay. No, it is. It's like that. I've been very close to you and your brother and Bex, and Bex was friends with my cousin growing up, and we still didn't know each other.
And it is actually madness. And the mad thing about it was actually, as I said, it was because of your friendship with Bex is how we initially ended up becoming mates, and finally finding our way on the same lane. After dodging each other for so long.
Good things take time. Good things take time.
I think the first question I'm leading into is, let's talk about the journey of Twistedtubz and Paddy Murphy.
Oh, interesting.
Because it hasn't, as I said, it hasn't been a crazy 2-decade-long journey, but I think we've packed about 20 years worth of stuff into about 8 years.
I don't think you're wrong. That's for damn sure.
To be fair, we have. So it's been. Go on.
I just want to share one of my favorite memories of. It's more work related. It's not we've had a lot of, as you say, fun moments offset where we've hung out. We've gone to the beach. We've done stuff as a family together. But one of my favorite moments for me, after directing you in so many things and being your director, getting to be an actor opposite you in Passenger Zero was a really big highlight for me. Again, when I got really drunk on stream and I was watching all our old short films, I watched Passenger Zero, and I can actually send you the clip of it. I'm like looking at you and like, I love you, tubz, like really drunk because it was, I think it was the last short film I watched before I knocked off the stream. But I was like, I love you, tubz, I love you. And so like I really, of all the people that I've, you know, that's the only film I've ever really acted in. I feel like, as in that I was one of them. I wasn't just doing a cameo or a bit part. And I was delighted that I got to do that opposite you, because I think we kind of pulled the best out of each other.
Oh, I mean, I do remember that scene. That obviously, for anyone that hasn't seen it, we won't spoil it. But
Oh wow,
it got pretty intense up in that room.
You can watch the BTS afterwards, and that'll kind of give you an indication. I mean, yeah, without spoilers, I had a big bruise on my forehead afterwards for a while.
And who gave you that bruise, Paddy?
The floor.
This is factual. Like, I'm not even.
But no, it's as I say, it's the only film where I've actually, as I say, maybe The Don'ts. The Don'ts is another film where it didn't feel like I was acting in it, because again, it was kind of just like, I'll jump in and do this part. Whereas Passenger Zero, I actually like, I went for the role, like to try and get it as just a role. Like, I wanted to be in something directed by someone else, and it was cool to be in something directed by Brian or Regan. And yeah, when it was, I loved that, like, me and you got to try some really interesting stuff in that film, character wise, and getting to be on the other side of the lens and act. I was definitely a little bit shaky and a little bit uncomfortable, because that's not my natural habitat. But then having you, who had been through you'd done a lot of acting, it was great to have somebody that I was like comfortable with, familiar with, friendly with, that I was able to be like, okay, this isn't as scary as it would be if it was like Tristan or Nick Vince or fucking someone like that, where I'd be like, oh shit.
Because, I mean, and this is the thing about the journey and the collaboration and the thing. I was, as you know, massive fan of Tristan's before she ended up coming over to working on Banshee. Now, she had already worked with you, obviously, in Brough. When you had told me she was coming over, like, I took it pretty well.
He fangirled crazy.
I fangirled like, so fucking hard. And I even had a conversation with Tristan about the first time I met her, which, if you remember correctly, was you walking me around a warehouse with a dog collar on. Yeah. And Nick was
some things change, some things don't.
Some things stayed completely the same, regardless of the approach that like, because I mean, and you just have to look at it from like the first time I stepped on the set in The Don'ts, when I was shooting in your older house. Yeah. And as I said, I mean, I was my first time on, and I was a bag of nerves. I was so scared of like fucking up, and just like never being called back to do anything again. And I remember it was like a scene where
that happened. He was never called back to do anything with Celtic Media ever again.
I just like hung around outside, kind of peering in, and they were like, "Oh man, just give him a role and tell him fuck off." But no, I genuinely was. I was genuinely shaking and going out there that day. But it became very clear to me very fast that, like, oh, I don't have to fear these guys. These, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are.
We're not the general. We're not the usual. We're not your usual filmmaking knobheads. We're actually sound like.
No, and that was the thing. I was always remembering it. Now, at first I thought it was, I'm just Becky's, brother, so they're welcoming. You could tell straight away after a very short period of time. Oh no, you're being welcomed in, and people are
pure genuine, like
pure genuine, and and I remember it was because I mean, I'll be honest, I'll say this to you, right? A lot of people probably kill me for saying this, because I know how common this is, but I know a lot of actors that when they hear reshoots on a film, they're like, oh, fuck's sake, reshoots. When I heard reshoots, I was like sending Paddy pictures going, man, I'm after losing a ton of weight. Look at the chin. Look at the chin. I'm a great chin. I get to go again. And really kind of come at it. But I think for me, it really helped on The Don'ts.
Getting to do the reshoots, yeah. I think it helped to film all around. Like, it helped every person in roles. Then it helped me to actually be like, oh wait, what's the actual story we want to tell, not just like let's throw everything we can in here. Like what's the important stuff. Yeah, like it made a huge fucking difference. I mean, I have to always give a massive thank you to Judd Tilliard, who produced it, was an executive producer on the Don'ts for that, because without his feedback and suggestions and guidance, like the Don'ts is a film we would have all still kind of like enjoyed. It just would have, nobody else would have ever watched it, man. It was 2.5 hours long, and it was fucking, it was ludicrous.
Oh man, to this day, because I remember before it was before the reshoots, wasn't it? Or was it after the reshoot when you went to Kent's?
What, I Need You More Tonight, I Need You More Than Ever.
Oh yeah,
that was before the reshoots.
Yeah, that was before the reshoots. I remember you called to my house where you went to Kent. And you would like dyed your hair blue on the side, and you were like, "Man, I'm heading off here, but I really want to show you the movie before I go." And we sat in my conservatory, in the older house, and watched this thing for 2.5 hours. And I remember when that scene came on, I was just going, "Oh my god, I love this!
I don't remember this
much because I don't fucking remember shooting this."
You were sleep deprived to fuck.
I was so sleep deprived from fucking the shoots that I was just fucking, I blanked my memory on it. But I do understand why the concept changed in the reshoots and stuff, you know, and why it had to go a different way, because, you know, but as I said, I'll talk about it very kind of flippantly because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, of course.
There is a scene in the Don'ts that is genuinely my favorite, and it's all my scenes. I'm joking. It's actually, there's a scene that's set outside of a house with 2 actors outside of a car, and it's just music playing, and the music is just so fucking heartfelt, and it's just a fantastic fucking scene. It's my favorite scene in the whole film. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the song that connected the scene and made the scene what it was, but yeah, every time I hear or watch that scene, I'm like, this was just
such a great experience.
Come over, Paddy. We have a little guest. She turned 13.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Grace. You.
What? 13 years old? Yeah.
I got the amount to stand, my friend.
Oh.
How are you, love? How are you, Grace?
Hi to Paddy.
Hi.
She does this every now and again. She jumps on the podcast to try and get a cameo.
Look at her laugh. She's getting in here.
Oh yeah. Have I showed you
on TikTok? What? Holy shit, that's so cool.
That fucking awesome.
My god, that's fucking, oh my god, that's epic.
It's a 10-inch Funko, man.
That is so cool.
My brother gave it to me for my birthday.
That is all the art.
Look at him. Look at him.
Look at him. Look at that creepy fuck.
Go up and enjoy the rest of your evening, and I finished.
Grace. Air hug.
There you go.
Happy birthday, love. Yeah, man, she's officially a teenager now.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, what, man. Like, I genuinely don't know how to feel about it. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? Just that you can't stop them from growing up. They're going to get older, but my God, it's. Anyway,
have I taken you off in a tangent? By the way, is there other stuff that you want to discuss?
No, God, no. I'm kind of just discussing in general. Do you know what I mean?
We're just vibing.
We're just vibing back and forth in the connection. But yeah, look, as I said, we're talking with the Don'ts, and then, as I said, with the Parish, it was very completely different kind of thing. But I found what I mean about the Don'ts was we as creators and as friends, I found we're very collaborative on a lot of things. Like, you were very giving with, especially with the Three Don'ts, with the character I played, you were very giving in, like, hey man, you know, just like hang out at that thing there and just say stuff.
And spout waffle as your yeah,
exactly, giving me the freedom to try things and put lines in here, try this, you know what I mean? And then, you know, it ended up, and I find the final version of the character in the Three Don'ts that I play is very much, it's not like it's not all me, if you get me. It's very much there's a stamp of Paddy Murphy in that character, which is weird that it's called Paddy. You know? It's so fucking strange. But,
it's I think that's true of I think that's true of I think being a creative makes you realize that that's true of everything. Like you can't, even when I talk to like voice actors and stuff from, you know, on my channel, they talk about the fact that like as much as you give to a character, you have to get so much as well. Like it's completely a 10-way street. Like there's a little bit of you, there's a little bit of, you know, fucking the writer, there's a little bit of the director, there's a little bit of your cast members who you're working against. Like characters really grow from this, like this place of just like everybody gets a little bit of themselves, like a little bit of a thumbprint on there, you know what I mean? But one thing I really appreciated is going to the Perished. You came into that with a very much like you knew the reason I picked you as a creature performer is because you were, I said, I need somebody who will ask me 40 million questions about this role because I don't want somebody who's just going to rock up in a suit and be like, there, I'm a monster. I'm going to I was like, I need somebody who's going to ask me, what's this monster thinking? What's this monster doing? Why does it want to do this? Why does it want to do that? And I was like, Tubz will ask 40 million questions because that's the type of person he is. And that's why he's perfect for this. And you fucking brought it. Like,
no, I mean, and look, I've said it before because I've been asked after the Perished like, oh man, what was it like playing a creature? I said it was one of the hardest roles I've played to date. Because I you know, I was not a dialogue character. You know, I was very much an entity or whatever else, whatever way you look at it on screen. But it was very much a different role. It was very physical, very stressful. It was very hard on the body. It was very mentally draining and physically draining. But it was very cathartic and rewarding, like out the gate.
You did get to give Paul Fitz nightmares, so there's that too as well.
To be fair, it's insane, right? Because that reaction, like, I mean, we like it's we can tell the story. We did this to all the people I interacted with. But yeah, Paul's one was very much that thing of.
He looked like this, by the way. He was horrifying.
There, I'll just point in the middle because I looked like that, and Paul had never seen me. Like he'd just never seen me, so it was when he came down. And believe it or not, and we can say it, like when he first tried to get through that door.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I told Mike Shawcross to hold the fucking door shut on the other side. And so Paul nearly dislocated his shoulder trying to open the fucking door. He was so scared of it.
He was legit fucking terrified. Like, I mean,
it was beautiful.
But the one that actually all like levels like meets that and an even plane for me is Lisa's one.
Oh, it was amazing because she had to hold her shit together because she was acting with you. She was supposed to be like stroking Tubbs's head, and then the second we called cut, she was like,
literally over the table, like cleared Field Canosian and everything, man. That was I remember because if you remember, I was like this.
You had like one tiny bit. I wore that mask for Halloween on stream, and I was legit like you can see it if you watch the video. It's just like one of my eyes is like this. And the other one I can kind of see out of, and I was putting my glasses on. It's not an easy mask to wear.
How many door frames did I hit, and how many bedposts did I end up hitting within that mask?
Well, oh god, you hitting the bedpost is still my scariest on-set moment ever. I legit thought you'd killed yourself. I was so scared.
Do you remember when I finally realized what was going on? I tried to play it all cool, like, no, I'm grand, but I'm all right. Put it back here.
Like, yeah. The other one was funny though, the door, because you literally like ran into the door, but then you like shook like a dog and then ran.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know why that happened? Obviously, I think we talked about it, but what happened?
You had no vision.
The entire costume, like, went out, like, didn't sugarcoat it. It was pretty damn heavy, right?
Yeah.
And the mask was it base silicone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're doing physical things in something like that, it becomes very slippy inside. So when I was going, I remember because when I was like down in like the all fours position, I had my head tilted forward so I could see straight. But I realized very quickly when you're motioning to go forward and go turn, you can't keep your head like that.
Yeah,
You have to turn your head to go that way. So it was so slippy inside, the mask would come down over my nose. 'Cause if you remember, I started wearing the lip of the mouth on the tip of my nose, so I
Yeah.
could keep it level with my eyes. In the later stages, but yeah, it was insane. Like, but no, but I mean, as I said, it's genuinely one of those roles that like it was one of the toughest ones I've done physically and mentally. Now, as we spoke about in another episode, in Memoriam was very much a different role
Different
because
breeds, yeah.
of the content. But the perished one was it was a different role because I had done tad bits of that stuff in
Yeah.
Banshee, but this was next level. Like the whole thing about the
Oh.
parish was next level. Let's be honest, down to everything. But
What was it? No, I had
my
some,
brain melted. So you continue.
I was going to say, at least you got to as well, like you got to live or walk in the shoes of like your idol Bill Skarsgård, and basically get to be a Pennywise style character.
Yes, and
you got to be a monster, a movie monster.
And I also got to have a great conversation at Fright Fest with Nick Vince about the process.
Yes,
which was so
yeah,
cool.
because Nick, of course, was the same silicone suit, super glued into it. I mean, you got stapled into yours at one point.
Oh, I will never ever sit here and say that like my experience was worse than Nick's, because hearing Nick's story with the super glue and the fucking everything else, it was like, nah, you had it worse, man. You did.
Oh man, I can't. Yeah, Nick has some fucking stories, man. He has some amazing stories. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think it just shows for me like great versatility from somebody if they can do that. Because like I can tell you right now that I don't think that's something I could necessarily do. Like, as in, I think I'd be fairly comfortable to do certain things, but that is not like that level of creature performance is not one of them. Like I have a cameo in Lulu and the Electric Dreamboat, and it's literally one scene and it's a monologue. And man, because it's a fucking product piece about a guitar, I couldn't fucking remember it for the life of me, because it's legit like a fucking ad for this guitar. And so when we were shooting the concept trailer, I legit had to do a fucking Marlon Brando on it and like stick the script to somebody so I could read it while I was doing it, because I was like, I can't fucking remember this.
And do you want to know a little secret? Every actor at one point in time of their career or journey through the movies and creating characters has done that. I have done it, and I know a lot of other people that have done it when it's like, when their brain melts and you're trying to figure out with these long dialogues and you will have it off camera in the eye view of the other actor and you're just reading this thing off, I
legit had it stuck to Mikey Casey's chest, like, and I was just like, the Fender Stratocaster is the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did you write this shit?
Because it's Mikey and that's how Mikey writes.
No, it's a great scene. It's a great, and like, I remember nobody knew what I was going to turn up to say. Like, we didn't discuss character decisions, right? Like what this guy was going to look like or dress like. So I came with my fucking emo hair and I wore a black tank top, right? And guess what the first comment that Martin Nee said to me when I turned up on set was, I didn't know you'd be cosplaying tubz today.
Oh, Ed Sheeran said that, did he?
Because I was wearing the black tank with the fucking hair over. He was like, look at fucking, it's tubz.
To be fucking fair, it's true, isn't it? Like, yeah, because like pre-Dawn's, like, I mean, I remember, and actually that's another story that goes back to the Dawn's. We're talking about crazy hair. When I showed up in
it's on Amazon. Watch it.
Do you remember? It is on Amazon. Go watch it. But do you remember that I like purposely left my hair grow long?
Yeah.
Slicked it back. And then I remember Kathy on the set before we shot a single frame of the reshoot, she was like, you look way too much like Adam Moylan with your hair like that. Just combed it forward with a load of gel. And then I was going, my hair's now down my face for the rest of this movie. But in hindsight, it made me completely different. And I think it added to the character. So
he's got a good brain like that.
I mean, going back to even what you were saying about yourself with the acting and stuff, I mean, I know, like as you said, it's like, Passenger Zero, and like you went after it and you really dug in. Like I still think you did a fantastic job in World as I See It and as Harry. Like,
oh yeah, like I mean, The World as I See It was another
Harry, that were just like they were just so, as I said to you, they were just so fucking like asshole.
Despicable.
They were just like the things that some of the things, and not even things, some of the mannerisms and the reactions were just so much of like you'd see in an asshole. That was just, and I was going, that's fucking fantastic. So you do have, and I think it's helped you massively working with people as a director that act, and then you've been able to play at the other side of the camera as well. I think that's actually helped you massively to understand the process of an actor. As well as
you have to. You have to. I think from my experience, like a lot of the directors that I've seen who don't step to the other side of the lens, they don't have as much empathy for actors. They don't care as much about like how will an actor take this direction in. They're just kind of like, I know what I'm saying and you have to understand it, deal with it. Whereas I think for me, like when you go to the other side of the lens, you learn about like, oh shit, is there a better way I could communicate that? Or, you know, how would I approach this? And like, that's all super important. It's funny because growing up, I wanted to act, and then I changed schools, and the school I went to had no drama program or drama class or anything like that. And so I just gave up the idea. And then when I went into filmmaking, I had no desire to act, but I was like, I want a cameo in all my shit. I want to do the Hitchcock thing and just show up as a cameo. But then the more little pieces of acting I did, I was like, I don't think I do this as a profession. I don't think I do this all the time, but I like dipping my toe in every so often and reminding myself of what it's like to be the other side of that lens. And The World as I See It was great for that, because again, like Passenger Zero, it was like, there was that comfort level of like, it's Tubbs, we're meant to be brothers, we're super close in reality, so this isn't that hard to do, because, you know, it wasn't like I was having to be somebody. That's the funny thing, because being Harry, I was definitely being someone I'm definitely not. I'm not an asshole who would betray their friends and screw them over. But that was the fun, I guess, of being Harry, was being the polar opposite to what I am like normally.
I mean, I love it because, I mean, I've always said it's a very big challenge to play like a character that, you know, stems emotion and a dramatic tone and things like that, but it's so much fun. Much fun to play a bad guy.
Oh,
dig into the shoes. That's where the territory becomes wide open.
Oh, yeah.
So many different levels to come at it. When you're playing like a hero, or when you're playing someone that's very much like a good guy, you have to base that in morals and morality and really come at that with, like, you know what I mean? All right, you have to have a code. You can't step outside it. It's kind of like the whole Batman thing, you know? That
unless you're trying to tell a super like different narrative, like something like The Last of Us or The Walking Dead, where there's no morality, there's no like, it's all grey blurred lines. Yeah. Where you're like, is the hero the villain?
Going for the stereotypical hero.
Yeah, exactly. The paragon.
Like you're never going to have Captain America run out and like just pop a shotgun into fucking Thanos' forehead. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just, it's not in the code of the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But you will, like I said, like with a Thanos, you will have him, you know, pull like a dude's like, you know, head off or forehead out of his head, just to get what he wants and things like that. So I mean, they're very different demeanors. But
absolutely,
obviously it's the same process, acting wise. But looking back over all of the things that, like, you know, just the journey. Just the journey, Pat. It's been a journey. We've been on one.
It's been a fucking journey.
With the films and stuff, like, as I said, obviously, I mean, normally I would ask, you know, the actors and stuff to come on here, or, you know, people say, what would be their three favorite roles, you know? But and you've done 3, maybe 4 or 5.
Which that I've acted in
on screen roles.
I've had cameos in basically everything, but I mean, in terms of actual roles with any kind of meat in them, like with dialogue, with like, I mean, yeah, the big ones would definitely be Passenger Zero, The World as I See It, and The Don'ts. And beyond that, it's even Retribution. It's just a kind of cameo, like me getting choked the fuck out.
I think I've switched gears on this one, so because you have dove like way deeper into the director side of things over time, right? So I'm out of orders, and it's not to say that anything.
And Google says I'm a director. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you know, like, remember we talked about it? We're no longer allowed to say that you're gone too deep in. But no, but when it comes to all the films that you've obviously done and things like that, you know what I mean? And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be the big ones, the short ones, whatever. It's just when you think of them off the top of your head, like what's three that really, really kind of like hit you in the heart and kind of are really kind of like the ones that stick close to you. And it doesn't devalue anything else that you have done involved in. It's just, it's a personal thing. It's the ones that really kind of like land on you when you think back at like the movies you've made or been a part of.
It's super hard to do, but I'm gonna just spitball it. Like, and as you say, I'm not leaving out anything as a like, because like I've loved pretty much everything I've worked on. But like that, so the cheese box, because it's the only film I have made that I can't watch back because it affects me too much emotionally. Yeah. And that's an accomplishment in my opinion. Yeah. To make something that the director is afraid to watch because of how it affects me is just everything that film brought to like my relationship with my mom and talking to her about her experiences and everything like that. It was not an easy film to make, but by God, and I may never even watch it again, but by God, am I proud of it for what it says. I think I want to say Ghosts, because Ghosts again has that personal connection. It's all kind of the sad ones, but not the sad ones. We're not going to include that one here, but yeah. But it seems to be more geared towards the sad films. Like Ghosts has that, but Ghosts isn't really a sad film. It seems like it, but it's actually uplifting. It's actually about how to carry on with things when you are faced with grief. And like even in that movie, Nathan, who plays the lead, him and his mom, he talked about it like that acting in that together improved their relationship massively. So like, and like Ghost is something I do watch regularly enough because again, as I say, it's a memory. It's something very important to me. And the third one is kind of stumping me because like because like there is a short that I did that I love for what it did, but then there's like, I'm going to try and do a cheat here. I'm going to say The Perished is my third one because of how much of a step up it was, how I felt we knocked it out of the park, the importance that it has for like telling a story that's very taboo, that like people were like, I can't believe you're doing this because this is not going to be a marketable story or a sellable story. And I'm like, I don't care. I want to tell this story because it's something Ireland is. It's like Ireland's dirty little secret. But I'm going to quickly tag on that. I think Retribution deserves mention because I feel like that was the first film that where it went from like, I like making movies with my friends to like, holy fuck, we can make real movies. Like this is like Retribution was, it's one of the only films I've made where at any time, anywhere and say, I love every second of this. Like there's nothing I change. I just love it so much, except for my chokeout scene. I changed that. But yeah, it was a tricky one.
But I mean, look, come here. On this podcast, I ask the hard questions, right? The next one's going to be even harder, Paddy. What are your all-time favorite top 3 animated Disney movies? And the reason I ask this, because this is an exercise of getting to know people. You give me your 3, I will give you my 3 and 2, and you have to guess my number 1. So go.
Okay, so I mean, I reckon. Are we including the CGI animated movies as well, or is it just the old school classics?
Go the old school animated cartoons.
Okay. I would say at number 3, I'd probably put. I was going to say Home on the Range to be ridiculous, but no, not Home on the Range. I would put number 3, Fox and the Hound. Fox and the Hound had a very big connection to. Number 2, I'd probably put Aladdin because I can sing every song in that movie off every single word.
Love it.
And then my number 1, I think it's not going to be a shocker to anybody, but like for me, my number 1 is The Lion King. I think it's not only one of the best animated movies of all time. I think The Lion King is just one of the best movies of all time, full stop. And I hate the remake. I'm sorry. I absolutely fucking hate it. I want the remake to burn. It just felt so lifeless, man. Like, how can something that is actually supposed to be lifelike feel more lifeless than the animated film?
And it was the problem was with the remake was that they went they tried to make them too photorealistic. And what do we know?
So there was
about
no
that?
expression.
Yeah, and what do we know about lions? They're expressionless because they're fucking predators that just want to kill. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So on that, I will give you my 3 and 2. My third favorite Disney film of all time is Aladdin.
Okay, nice.
My second favorite of all time is The Lion King.
Oh fuck! Well then, I don't know. I'm goosed.
So what do you think? Knowing me as long as you know me, what do you think my number 1 favorite Disney movie of all time is? Animated Disney film. Sorry.
Holy shit! I mean,
Getting to know you business.
yeah, but like, oh my god! Like, I feel like it'd be something weird knowing you. Like, as in not your normal. Like, I feel like in my head, I'm like, is it like
what you don't think is normal from a pick from me?
I definitely think The Little Mermaid is your number 1.
I do love mermaids, but it's not.
Oh god damn it! I had a feel. I was like, Tubz loves red hair. Tubz loves fucking shellbras. It's got to be fucking Little Mermaids.
It all speaks to what I like.
I mean, see, I feel like it's something like that. When you said that, I feel like it is something that maybe other people might consider as more girly or effeminate, but it's not. I'm going to throw another one out, and then you can just tell me it's not Beauty and the Beast, is it?
That's exactly what it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love Beauty and the Beast as well. I was actually like, that was a mind-blowing experience seeing that as a kid, and the ballroom scene and everything.
Oh,
yeah, it was phenomenal.
It's crazy because there's been so many that have come out, and it's just nothing has kind of broken my nostalgia like connection to that movie. I've loved it since I was so young, and that's
totally fair. Like that was golden era Disney though. Like I remember like me and my aunt like from 1988 when The Little Mermaid came out up until probably Pocahontas's release was just like everything that they released was just fucking straight fire gold. Like it was just perfection. One that gets lost in the discussion a lot and it breaks my heart is Hunchback of Notre Dame, which got slammed at the time, like as in nobody seemed to like it at the time because it was too dark. Yeah. But I think now in hindsight, everyone's like, holy fuck, this is such an amazing dark Disney movie.
I mean, I wish they could, honest to God, like you know, like because they've been remaking so many of them, is like take that that Frankenstein's monster fucking Lady in the Tramp remake and fuck it in the bin and
make a Hunchback.
Make the Hunchback. Because that Lady in the Tramp remake,
I didn't watch it, thankfully. I haven't watched a lot of it
because I feel there's an entire episode about that in itself. But that film annoyed me to no fucking end for some of the fucking decisions. After
watching the Beauty and the Beast and Lion King remakes, I haven't been too compelled to watch many more of the like. I haven't watched Aladdin or Milan just because Beauty and the Beast was fine. I want to just say I don't hate Beauty and the Beast, the live action. It's not for me. I will always go back to the animated one over it. But like, if it's getting somebody into Disney and they like it and they think it's cool, awesome. I, as we said, hated the Lion King remake. And then the others have just been like, when I heard there was no songs in Mulan, I was like, well, fuck that. That's why I love Mulan. Like, it's for Eddie Murphy as a dragon and songs. So fuck you. Keep your remake.
And the crazy thing about it was, I mean, I still haven't watched the remake of Mulan because I was never a massive fan of the cartoon. I
love the songs in it, man. Like, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
You know, when we were younger, obviously kids, I'd seen it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. But it never stuck with me over the years as like, you know, like a film that I was like, oh man, they're making a remake of that. That
was Pocahontas for me. Like Pocahontas was the one that I was like, I don't care about this. I don't like this that much.
They did make a remake of it.
Really? Oh yeah, shit, they did. Avatar. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, anyone that doesn't believe us, right, go fucking watch Avatar. No, I'm not bashing the movie because I actually do like Avatar.
Or Dancing with Wolves. Like Pocahontas is just a remake of Dancing with Wolves.
You know? And so they've technically already made that remake. So
then again, the Lion King's just Hamlet, so like everything's a knockoff of something else.
Oh, knocked off of something else. And then like the Matrix is just ripped off of Jupiter Ascending.
And the Little Mermaid is just ripped. The The Little Mermaid is just ripped off of that Hans Christian Andersen book, The Little Mermaid.
Oh my God, could you imagine if they made that version?
Oh, that would be the darkest fucking Disney movie by a long shot.
It's like, wow, like, come on.
But can we just talk for a little second about how bad of a message The Little Mermaid sends to young girls that, like, if you lose your voice, the prince will fall in love with you because you're not able to talk.
You got red hair and you can walk. You're fine. No, it's not how it works. You know, it's just not. We're not gonna like sugarcoat
selling the idea that, like, basically if you're a quiet woman you'll get a nice man. Like, that's what the film says.
It does go to it does really speak to it's a generational shift. If you look at those movies to now, it really is
under a different lens, 100%.
And stuff. But I do agree with you on one
last thing, just because we talked about the generational thing there and, like, kind of changes the films over the years. I want to say that, right, at the time of recording this, I literally yesterday watched the Mortal Kombat movie trailer. And I want to say that Kathy asked me earlier, like, what do you like about it? What do you think looks good? And I was like, I love that with the casting, they went for, like, they didn't just go for, let's just get the 5 most popular actors in Hollywood. Let's get Jennifer Lawrence as Sonya Blade. They got actors that, like, really feel like they suit the parts. But especially with the characters like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they didn't whitewash them, man. I love that. I love that they are Asian. And and there's some of them. When I saw that fucking Raiden is being played by the bad guy from Itchy the Killer, I was like, what the fuck universe or timeline am I living in, man? Like, this is amazing.
And it wasn't even all of that. The thing that caught me so off guard was that shot of Goro.
Oh yeah, jumping.
Because I did not know he was in this. Like,
for me, I was digging the trailer, and then the music started to come in. And I was like, all the goose pimples went vroom up on the back. I was like,
how badass was that fight sequence?
Where he freezes the blood?
Where he cuts him and freezes the blood. That's straight out of the 11 game. Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, man. I said it in my thing, but, like, it's so fan servicey, but I do not give a fuck. Like, bring it on.
I think it needed to be, because the last, even, like, I mean, obviously, you know, as I said this in, you know, I think it was the first episode or second episode. It all comes down to, you know, like, opinion and taste. You know, some people, the original Mortal Kombat movie, I fucking love it. Like,
it's one of my favorite video. It's probably still, it's a tie up between Sonic and Mortal Kombat for my favorite video game adaptation, because I think they're both so good.
I mean, like obviously, and I did say to my mate the other day, I was saying, like, I didn't know what I was expecting with this. You know, I just wanted it to be, you know, like more faithful to the game with the fatalities and the blood and the violence, and have a kind of an okay story that I could follow. But it looks like I've gotten way more than I ever thought I was going to get.
Same here. I had no expectations, man. I was like,
my bar wasn't high.
My bar was like, I was legit like, I'm not even going to lie. Before I saw it, I was like, I don't care. I'm not pushed. I think they're just going to, I just don't really give a shit. And then I watched it and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be watching the fuck out of that at release. That looks fucking amazing. I mean, like, talk about knocking it out of the park with a trailer. Like, it did everything it was supposed to do. Like, it just made me go. It made me go from, I don't give a fuck about this, to, like, I need this in my life right now in 5 minutes.
I'm not going to lie to you. My bar was so low. My initial response when I knew this was coming out, I was like, well, if it's better than Annihilation, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, because I remember renting Annihilation when it came out, man, because it went straight to video or DVD or whatever. And I remember renting it, and it was just like, well, we've really hit the bottom of the barrel now, kids.
Oh, man. It was like, and even to this day, the line with Sindel, you know, Tsukitana, still gets played now on YouTube. It's so bad.
It's so cringy.
It's like,
it's so cringy.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's so bad. But no, look, for me, like, yeah, like, fan servicey can be played off bad, in my opinion. Like,
but it can also be used. It's like one of these double-edged powers where it can be used for good or evil. And it looks like in the Mortal Kombat trailer, all the way it's being used is like for good. Because like when Scorpion's like, get over here, and it's Asian fused accent, and I was like, oh my god, I just hook it to my fucking veins. I need it right now. Like,
online there was so many people that gave out about that line.
What?
He doesn't even
so
say
good.
it right. Why would he say it like that? Because, as Paddy just said, he's Asian and he's an Asian character, and
he's in a mask.
Like, like, I mean, you know, it's been done correctly. You know?
Yeah, exactly. My
problem with it, though, Pad, it's the fact that if that's the issue you have with the trailer, then like, you know,
then fuck off, man.
Exactly, fuck off. Because come on, you know, that's nitpicking at the highest point. Like,
I have to say that one of my most wholesome moments of 2021 so far was watching Brian O'Regan's reaction video to it, because I know that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a gigantic fan of the games. I'm not a diehard fan of the games. I like the games. Thing is, I would say that I'm more a fan of the Paul W.S. Anderson 1995 movie. Like, that was, I love that so much. That was my, like, that I was more hooked. I'm not a huge fan of the games. Whereas I know Brian, like, loves the games, has all the collectibles. So I knew watching his reaction that it would be like if tomorrow there was an announcement of a Final Fantasy VII movie that was going to be amazing.
And not be the very same.
I would be fangirling out, like, what. So watching Brian's reaction was just like, this is so glorious. I love this so much, because like he deserves this, like, more than anyone, because he was actually hyped about it. Whereas I was like, they're probably going to fuck it up.
Well, I mean, and we did, like, me and Brian, we did have talks about it when we knew it was coming out, and he had like text me like that morning. He was like, "Tubz," and it was just like this, and I was like, "Oh my god, the Mortal Kombat trailer's out!" I knew by the straight away, because I knew it was coming out that day.
Yeah,
I was so happy to see his reaction, because I knew how much he was waiting to see this. You know, I genuinely did, and it was just, and as you said yourself, it's great to see one of your friends have a genuine moment of happiness.
Oh, absolutely. Especially especially during what we've been going through and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's the way he reacted to that was the way I reacted when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced in 2015.
Yeah.
With I think there was slightly more tears with me.
There was just definitely more tears.
I'm a very emotional person. Brian is not necessarily as emotional as me. I cry at every animated movie we talked about. I cry at. So when the Final Fantasy VII Remake, when the logo appeared and the music came on, I just started fucking like bawling. Like,
no, and I've said it before. I think, you know, because, you know, like, so we've grown up with this, you know, masculinity thing, and, you know, like, oh, blokes aren't supposed to cry. Fuck that shit, man. If you cry, your soul is getting to breathe. It's a common fucking fact. You know, it's good for you. And so I think, man, bring on the tears. You know,
absolutely. It's why I love when I played Life is Strange 2 on stream. I will say that it was awkward crying on stream, because you're effectively crying in front of like 15 or 17 people for me. But what was amazing was seeing people be like, oh my God, I reacted exactly like this. Like, I was in bits, I was destroyed. Because again, there's just moments that just affect you as a human. And like, it's so cool to be able to share that then and break down that stigma, so that people are like, oh, look at this dude crying, and not be like, look at this fucking wuss crying. Instead being like, oh shit, I cried at that too, man.
No, but I think the word you used is perfect. You're human.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're all human beings.
And on that note, because we are coming to the very end of the episode, I have a very human thing to ask you. Because as we said, we haven't gone into detail, because look, why would we? Do you know what I mean? We're here to have fun and talk about good shit and have a good chat between two mates. But in 2020, it was a crazy, crazy batshit year. So my question to you is another very hard one, Paddy. We're now in 2021. So what 3 songs did you take out of 2020 and bring with you into this year?
3 songs?
3 songs that like really, really just that you took.
This is so easy for me.
They're my 3 songs of 2020.
Like, they're not songs that remind me of 2020. They're just songs that I fell in love with in 2020.
Well, like, that were on 3 songs that like you just plucked out of that year as your own.
they're still on rotation, man. I listened to, there's 3 songs. I went back into my emo goth phase in a big way in 2020. And so the first is Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. I fucking fell in love. That song said so much about mental health and I related to it so hard. And I just blare it at full volume and just go fucking wild still continuously. I fucking adore that song. I would say, see, there's 2. I would probably put 2 songs by the same band as my next 2, but I'm going to try and pick something else to mix it up because I don't want to do that. So I'll try and mix it up. At number 2, I'd probably put in Voices by Motionless in White. Again, very mental health geared. Really good. It was my friend Brooker got me into Motionless in White, and I was not expecting them to be as good as they were, and they kind of fucking blew me away. And then the third is, or like the last one is my favorite band that I've discovered in the last 5 years. And I say that these other songs are still in rotation, but basically I just listened to this band on Spotify, their entire discography on repeat over and over. And I'll pick one song though. I'll pick Parasite Eve by Bring Me the Horizon. I had seen Bring Me the Horizon's name popping up for years and years and stuff because they did a song, I think Can You Feel My Heart was in like a game I played, and then Ludens was in Death Stranding, and I knew of them, but I never really went down that rabbit hole. And I heard they released an EP called Post-Human Survival Horror. I saw Survival Horror in the title and was like, I got to check this out. And the first song is called Dear Diary, and it's based on the Resident Evil Itchy Tasty Diary. They have a song called Parasite Eve, which is named after a survival horror RPG game. And the chorus of that song has the words, "If the suspense doesn't kill you, something else will," which was the original tagline for Resident Evil 2. There's a song about Final Fantasy 12 on it. So I was just like, oh my God, I fucking love this. So I just went back and listened to all of their stuff. And I've been like, I'm glad I missed out on this band for like 10 years because now it gives me so much to listen to. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they're my favorite band ever right now. And just a little quick thing. When I heard them, I was like, they kind of remind me of Linkin Park. They kind of have that vibe. And then I found out that Mike Shinoda brought Ollie Sykes, who's the lead singer of Bring Me the Horizon, out on stage to perform Crawling after Chester passed away because he was the only vocalist that Mike Shinoda thought could do Crawling justice. Which for Ollie, as you can imagine, is a kid that grew up worshipping Chester Bennington, to get to have to step out on stage and do that song after his death must have been a huge honor, but also the most terrifying, scary shit ever as well. But yeah, so I'm obsessed with Bring Me the Horizon.
That's a good list, man. You want to know my choice?
Go for it.
It's a break.
Weekend. The Weekend.
That's one.
Blinding Lights.
Yes, fucking heavy, fucking yeah. The first one is Disturbed. Silence.
Song of Silence.
Sorry. I had heard it a few years ago, but I think it was because the first 6 to 7 months of last year, because of everything that happened, like with my friend Natalie and everything in the pandemic, I was in a very lost kind of like jumbled mindset. So that one was just any kind of thing I was feeling was that that song spoke to me in so many fucking levels because it was just such a powerful, like amazing song. But then I also, this is what I mean. So I went through a weird phase at the start, second fucking arc of the year. Man, I fucking landed in the 80s hard. So when I heard The Weeknd Blinded by the Lights, I was like, this sounds like an 80s fucking anthem, man. I love the shit out of this.
Yeah, it's a tune. It is
it's a fucking tune. So what do you think my last one was? I
mean, it's very hard to know. Going from Sound of Silence to The Weeknd, it's very hard to know where number 3 could go, man. Could go anywhere. Like,
want me to tell you?
Is it? Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, Midnight Rush.
Midnight Sky.
Midnight Sky. I get all the names wrong, but you know what I mean. But,
I do. Yeah. I don't doubt that because it's very like it's in the same vibe as Blinding Lights. It feels like I mean they meshed it up. They did like a remix of it with the Stevie Nicks
They did.
Edge of 17, and like they're so similar, like not in a rip-offy way, but like in a holy
That
shit, like this
raspy voice,
sounds like they came from the same time. Like they're all great choices. Like I will say very quickly, there's right. I totally get what you mean about the Mindspace thing about like Sound of Silence, because there's a song by Bring Me the Horizon that in the last January was a really tough month for me in 2021. I went into a really shitty headspace for most of January, and there's a song by Bring Me the Horizon on the newest album called One by One, and there's a lyric in it that when I heard it, I was like, that describes, and this is, I love when you can latch to lyrics. Like, I love that so much. And the lyrics, like and it's bad for my health, how much I hate myself. It suffocates the way it's pulling me under. And I was like, without what I was feeling in January, I was like, man, this is exactly what I feel like right now. And that's, what's amazing is you would think that those things would bring you down. You're in a down state and you listen to lyrics. But what it does is remind you that you're not the only person that feels this way, and that other people have gone through it and come out the other side and wrote a song about it. They gained something from it. They gained art from this. So I'm like, that actually helped me through my worst days in January, like was listening to somebody else's pain. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know what? I agree. And you know, that is probably the perfect way to end this episode, because from what seemed like a very bad moment had a positive ending.
Absolutely.
And it's all through the music we were talking about and all the creative content we spoke about and everything else. And I think that is a fantastic way to look at it. And it is a fantastic way to end the episode. Paddy Murphy, we have gotten 3 fantastic episodes. And I am so fucking happy you came on, because it's been a fucking blast.
Smash that like button, subscribe now.
Yeah, smash the like button, all that jazz, kid. But in that vein of things, as I say every time at the end of each video, this has been the Twistedtubz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Tubley, aka Twistedtubz. He is Paddy Murphy, aka Paddy Plays, and we survived together and slayed the monster, the demon, if you will. We're still here, we're still rocking. Paddy Murphy, thank you very much for coming on and making this a fun show. Yeah.
Thank you.